So that sort of ends the entire section or module on information gathering, which is step 2 that every single attacker must execute in his or her bid to break into the target computer. I cannot reinforce enough the importance of this particular step. Information gathering is extremely important, and what makes this easy is the fact that there are ready-made tools, like all of you saw throughout the section, that allow an attacker to find out information about the target computer. And any mistake in this particular step can really mean the difference between a successful attack and an unsuccessful attack. Even from the very selfish, very short-term perspective of just this particular course, it is extremely important that you make sure that you are proficient in all information gathering techniques that we discuss in this particular section. For the benefit of all of you attending this course, I'd like to quickly recap the entire information gathering process. So say for example, you want to break into the target computer. The first step that all of you must perform is ping sweeping. In other words, you got to ping sweep all different computers on the target network and figure out which host is online, which host is not online, and stuff like that. Move on to trace route, wherein you try to find out how the entire target network is actually set up. Using ping sweeping and trace route, the combination of the two techniques can also be used to sort of narrow down the possible operating systems running on the target computer. Once you have done that, you can find out more information about the target network, the target company, using visual route or visual tracing softwares. You can also move on to techniques like whois, reverse DNS lookup, and tools like samspade, which actually allow you to find out a lot of different interesting bits of pieces of information about the target network or the target company or the target system. Once you have done that, once you have performed ping sweeping, trace routing, visual routing or visual tracing, and even some of the other miscellaneous information gathering techniques, you should move on to port scanning. Using port scanning, figure out what are the open ports on each system of the entire target network. And of course, the logical next step would be daemon banner grabbing. So not only do you figure out what ports are open, you also figure out what are the various services, what are the various daemons, what are the various softwares running on these open ports. Sometimes using port scanning and daemon banner grabbing, you might even be, if you're lucky enough, you might even be able to figure out what firewalls, what filtering mechanisms are actually being used by the target network. Next comes the important bit. That's the third section of information gathering, OS detection. You can use ICMP scanning, active fingerprinting, passive fingerprinting, advanced OS detection techniques, and even email header fingerprinting to figure out what OS is running on the target computer. So the first step was to find out information about the entire target company, the target network, all systems on the target network, the network topology, how does the network set up, what are the systems which are online, what is the location of the network or the company, and so on. The next would be to actually figure out what are the various ports which are open on each system within the target network, what are the services being offered by all the open ports, what are various daemons or applications running on all the open ports. Finally, what is the OS running on the target network or all systems on the target network. Using these three different major steps of information gathering, you got to combine all this information that you just gathered to actually prepare a very organized report, organized paper on how is the target network looking like, what are the various softwares running, what is the various operating system or platforms that it supports, and so on. All this information that you just combined is then carefully analyzed, carefully studied to actually move on to the next step, which is to actually find a loophole on the target network using all this information. That's where the next part of this course comes very handy, which is different types of attacks that are possible on the target computer or on the target network.